But what we have come to understand is that the dead hand of this Tory government is all over this dispute. And the fingerprints of Grant Shapps and the DNA of Rishi Sunak are all over the problems on the railway and indeed the problems in this society. The whole country is suffering, and we have got a membership and a trade union that is prepared to fight for what we've got. What the rest of the country suffers from is the lack of power, the lack of the ability to organise, and the lack of the wherewithal to take on these employers that are continually driving down wages and making the working class in this country poorer year on year on year, while the rich get richer and dividends are accelerated and the stock market is reasonably healthy. We've got full employment. We've got full employment and falling wages, and that is a situation that has never happened before, and it cannot be tolerated by working people or by the trade union movement. Most people have not had a pay rise at all in this country for 3 years, and many of the public sector workers, as well as private sector workers, have not had a proper pay rise since Osborne and the other geezer, Cameron, whatever his name was, came to power. So the idea that there is a wage price spiral, that the accelerating wages of workers is causing prices to go up, is a nonsense. What's causing prices to go up is profiteering. Profits in this country are not down. What is down is wages. The only people that are paying the price of COVID are the working class of this country. So there hasn't been a wage price spiral, and there's no need to think that there will be one by people catching up with wages. Prices aren't catching up with wages. Wages are trying to catch up with prices. And what we're being forced to do is suppress working people to deliver government policy and profits for their friends in the city. And that's not acceptable. Well, those taxpayers are also suffering with the cost of living, and many of them are working in the public sector and they're facing pay cuts. Everybody who works in health, education, care, council services have all seen pay suppression. And the only way to break that cycle is to get pay deals that break it. Now, all money in circulation comes from all of us. So somebody is paying for every service or product that you buy. But if we have continual price suppression, you will have continual hyper profit. And there's got to be a balance in this society between profit and income. We're not getting enough income and they're getting too much profit. Well, last year in the railway industry, the rolling stock companies, Network Rail subcontractors and the train operating companies made £500 million of direct profit. That's a fact. It's in their books. Last year on rail, the First Group, which is one of the major shareholders and train operating companies, made £108 million out of rail alone. They have been subject to a takeover bid of £1.2 billion. Go Ahead, who's one of the other companies, are also subject to a takeover bid. So somebody thinks they're going to make profits out of rail because private equity companies from abroad are coming here to buy these companies while their managing directors are earning millions. The top earner in Network Rail earned £1.2 million in salary during COVID. His chief financial operator executive earned nearly £500,000 each year during COVID. All of these executives that we're dealing with are on salaries in excess of £350,000 a year. Somebody's making money out of the railway, it's just not our members. Because rail fares have gone up in order to play for profits. Profits since privatisation has been something around 12 billion. So all of that profit has been extracted from our railway system. If we'd used that to invest, we could have lowered the fares, we could have improved the services, and we could have had a square deal for railway workers. It's the extraction of profit from the railway system, which is largely subsidised through the taxpayer, that has caused the cause of one of our problems. Well, it's not the only answer. We want an answer to our problems at this time. And the problem for our members is losing their jobs, having their conditions ripped up, and not getting a pay deal. So when we've addressed that one, we can move on to government policy.